The following videos are from WriteBrightStation.com. Please note, the writing packets used in each video are only available for those with a membership. For the free printables for this lesson, go to WriteBrightStation.com. From the home page, choose the Assess tab. On the left Assessment menu, go down to Core Knowledge. Select your grade level and select the lesson. The lesson can be printed from this site. Talk to your principal about a site license for your school. Today's lesson is titled Polio. Before reading the passage, you always want to take a look at the writing instructions. The prompt today says, after reading polio, think about what life was like before the polio vaccine. Write an explanatory essay explaining what happened when people contracted polio and how it can be prevented. Use information from the source to support your answer. Polio. Polio is an infectious disease that has been around for thousands of years. It is caused by the polio virus and 50% of the time results in muscles becoming so weak they can no longer move. The muscle weakness can happen within a few hours or days. Typically, it affects the legs, but polio has been known to affect the head, neck, and diaphragm. Polio is a dangerous virus that affects people differently. Some people die. Others have muscle issues, and others only experience minor symptoms such as fever and sore throat. 1% of infections lead to paralysis, causing some of those infected to spend the remainder of their lives in a wheelchair. Some people contracting polio end up with equinus foot. This is a deformity that happens when the muscles that pull the toes downward are working, but those that pull it up are not. This causes the foot to drop downward to the ground so it does not stay in its normal position. Those that have this cannot walk correctly because they are unable to place their heel on the ground. Today, there's great news. Polio is preventable through a polio vaccine that was invented in the 1950s by Dr. Jonas Salk. It takes several doses to make it work. When a person gets a polio vaccine, they begin to develop immunity to the virus, which fights off the virus before they can become sick. If people choose not to get the vaccine, there is no treatment to help them if they get polio. Polio is very contagious. It can be transmitted through people not washing their hands after using the restroom. Imagine someone using the restroom without washing their hands. They walk around touching doorknobs, pencils, and other objects. Other people touch as well. Then a new person touches the same pencil. Now they've been exposed. It can also be spread through saliva, so people should not share food and drinks. What makes polio especially scary is that people are infectious between 7 and 10 days before and after they have symptoms. This means they can feel perfectly fine and give polio to others. Polio is a crippling, infectious disease that is potentially deadly. It only affects humans and is spread through person-to-person contact. Thankfully today, there are vaccines for protection. We've read the prompt, we've read the passage. What do we do next? Say, read the prompt again. The prompt says, after reading polio, think about what life was like before the polio vaccine. Write an explanatory essay explaining what happened when people contracted polio and how it can be prevented. Use information from the source to support your answer. When you read the prompt again, the first thing you're looking for is the type of writing. Today, it says write an explanatory essay. It's telling you what type of writing. Explanatory also can be called informative or expository. This is when you are like a teacher and you are pretending the person reading your paper has never read the article, and you're going to explain or teach them something. When you read the prompt again, the second thing you're looking for is what you are writing about. Today, you are explaining what happened when people contracted polio and how it can be prevented. Let's take a look at the plan. You have a beginning, middle, and end. Let's start with the beginning, cat. The C stands for catch. You are catching the reader's attention. We are going to choose from the announcement strategy. Today's topic is polio. Let's blast off into the world of polio. The spotlight today is on polio. Now, do you think we should say everyone loves discussing polio? This probably wouldn't be a good one because most people don't like talking about it. You can make up your own announcement. You might say, put on your mask because we're talking about polio. Slide on your rubber gloves as we head into the world of polio. On your paper, please indent, start with a capital, and write your catch now. Next on the plan is asking. You can either ask a question, ask yourself the topic and use it in a sentence, or look at what the prompt is asking to help form a sentence. I wrote, life was hard before the polio vaccine. I looked at what the prompt was asking. It says life was like before the polio vaccine. And I changed this word to hard. Life was hard before the polio vaccine. You may also ask a question. Have you ever met someone who's had polio? And make sure you use a question mark. Please write an asking sentence. If it's a question, it should end in a question mark. If you look at what the prompt is asking to form a sentence, it should be a period. Please do this now. Going back to the plan, we are on tell. Tell the reader what you're going to write about. You always go back and look at the prompt to write your tell sentence. It says, explain what happened when people contracted polio and how it can be prevented. I wrote, many people were harmed by the polio virus, but today it can be prevented. Please write your tell sentence, telling what we're writing about, now. Your beginning is complete. You've written your catch, asking, and tell. It's time to move to the middle. We're going to start with AP, author's purpose. On your paper, please skip a line, go to a new line and indent, and write your author's purpose sentence. You might say, this passage does an outstanding job helping the reader to learn about polio. This passage is about polio. Remember, you can call it a source, article, selection, text. Make certain you indent, start with a capital, and write an author's purpose sentence now. Going back to the plan, it's time for fact-finding. Fact-finding is when you go through the passage and you underline the most important information. Your fact-finding has been done for you today. The most important things have been underlined. Now, what we're going to do is take this information and paraphrase it. Say paraphrase. Paraphrase is when you put things in your own words. Before you can start paraphrasing, you have to say something to the reader that says, hey, person reading my paper, I'm about to tell you things that did not come from my brain. They are things I read somewhere. This is called a fact-finding phrase. Say fact-finding phrase. Where these X's are, you replace them with the word source, passage, text, selection, article. You might say, this article reminds us that, or the passage reports that, or according to the selection. Please put on a fact-finding phrase now. Now it's time to paraphrase. Looking at the first sentence, it talks about how polio is an infectious disease that's been around for thousands of years. You need to write a sentence letting the reader know that polio's been around for a long time. You might use the word centuries. You could say, according to the passage, polio has been here for centuries. You might say, polio is a disease that has been here for thousands of years. Please, you already have your fact-finding phrase on there, so you're still in the same sentence. Paraphrase the first sentence now. Let's look at paragraph 2. Paragraph 2 tells some of the things that polio causes, and that's what the prompt has asked us to write about. It says polio is a dangerous virus that affects people differently. Some people die, so it can cause death. Others have muscle issues. Others only experience minor symptoms such as fever and sore throat. It can cause paralysis. It can cause equinus foot. I want you to give at least 3, only 3. You can write them in a list where you separate them. You put the first one, comma, second one, comma, and then the word and before you put the last one. I want to know some of the things that polio causes or some of the effects of polio. Write at least 3 effects of polio now. We're going to skip the part of vaccine because let's put that at the end because that's how it can be prevented. Go down to the paragraph 3, where it says polio is contagious. This paragraph says it can be transmitted by people not washing their hands. And then it talks about how polio is especially scary because people are infected 7 to 10 days before they have symptoms. That means people are walking around spreading polio, giving it to other people, and they don't even know they have polio because they don't even get a fever for 7 to 10 days. In your own words, give me a sentence or two letting me know that polio is contagious. Instead of the word contagious, you might say it spreads easily. And explain why it spreads so easily. Do this now. Let's go back to paragraph 2 at the bottom. The prompt asked you to tell or explain how polio can be prevented, and the way that it can be prevented is at the bottom of paragraph 2. It talks about the vaccinations and how today people get shots that keep them from getting polio. Their bodies actually build up immunities so that if they get polio, their body has what it needs to attack it before the person gets sick. You need to end your middle paragraph by giving a sentence or two explaining how polio is prevented today. Do this now. Going back to the plan, you've done your beginning, middle, and it's time for your ending. TERP. We're going to start with the T, which stands for transition. There are several different transitions you can use, as you can see, to conclude, to sum up, in short, in final thoughts. Skip a line, go to a new line, indent, and write a transition now. The first R stands for recap. This is where you restate the question that you were asked as a statement, or you can just tell your main point if it's a persuasive. This is not. So we're just going to give a statement. I've written, in summary, polio no longer threatens America thanks to the vaccination. Please write a recap now. The next R in TERP stands for retell. You retell a main answer, why it's important, a big idea, or echo keywords. I've written, there was a time when polio destroyed lives. Write a retell sentence now. Finally, the P in TERP stands for punch. You want a powerful ending. I've written, we must protect ourselves against deadly viruses. Write your punch, and then your essay's complete. Wonderful work. Visit writebrightstation.com for more lessons.